Hello and welcome to the first video of this brand new YouTube channel. I recently spent an extended period in Japan, and since I enjoyed it so much, I like to start a YouTube series to help others by sharing my experiences and showing what Japan has to offer. I want to begin with Osaka, as it was also the city where I first arrived in Japan. Looking back, I would actually recommend Osaka over Tokyo as a starting point for a first trip to Japan, since in my opinion, quite a bit of Osaka's charm comes from how new, big and completely different everything is compared to Europe. If you land in Tokyo first, everything is even more overwhelming, and in direct comparison, Osaka might seem slightly less fascinating. That doesn't mean it doesn't have its own advantages or is worse in any kind of way. So if you're watching and have been to Tokyo first, please let me know in the comments whether you agree or think I'm totally off with this theory. Additionally, Osaka is a great base for trips to nearby destinations like Kyoto, Nara or Kobe. Even Hiroshima is only 90 minutes away by bullet train. If you find a nice place to stay in Osaka and don't want to change hotels every other day, you can therefore easily take day trips by train to the surrounding cities. A train ride from Osaka Umeda to either Kyoto or Nara costs less than €5 or $5 per person, and usually takes under 45 minutes. I particularly recommend this for travelers who might want to go out for a beer or experience the local cuisine in the evenings. Osaka is truly fantastic when it comes to food and dining options. A quick word about accommodations and where to stay in Osaka. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter, since the public transport is so good that you can get anywhere fairly quickly. If you're planning day trips from Osaka, you might want to stay near Umeda, where many trains depart to nearby cities. If you're more interested in nightlife and want to fall straight into bed after hitting the bars, staying near Namba or Shinsekai might be ideal. I chose a middle ground and was very happy with it. My hotel was near a subway station called Tomachi, which is located between the two major transport hubs. It was just 2 stops from both Umeda and Namba. The area itself is more business focused, but still has lots of nice restaurants, izakayas and shops nearby. Everything you need is basically within walking distance. The busy areas of Namba, Dotonbori and Shinsekai are also within a 15 to 20 minute walk, so you can enjoy the nightlife whenever you want. But as I said, if you prefer peace and quiet or cheaper accommodations, you'll still be fine staying further out, since the train system will get you downtown quickly. Before we dive into specific attractions, I want to point out that if you've never been to Japan, the city itself is already incredibly fascinating. So my recommendation is to explore areas like Namba, Shinsekai and Nipponbashi on foot. You'll find something interesting around every corner. Besides the usual, though admittedly quite impressive shopping malls, you'll come across many Japanese curiosities. From massive pachinko halls to the myriad of concept cafes, which are basically themed venues where you can, depending on the theme of the cafe, play with animals like cats, birds or rabbits, or have your food served by women in French maid costumes. As fun as it is to explore Osaka on foot, sooner or later you'll want to use the extensive public transportation system. The rail network is excellent, though it can be a bit overwhelming due to its size. Google Maps is usually your best friend here. I use it constantly to plan my routes. It is noteworthy though that sometimes there are multiple ways to reach your destination, and if you get lost in one of the massive stations and you miss your train, Google might suggest an alternative route. Since most trains run frequently, I'd recommend just staying at your platform and waiting rather than diving back into the station maze to find another line, as you'll risk missing that train as well. Just check if the originally suggested train is coming again within the next 5 to 15 minutes. General tip that maybe doesn't only apply to Japan, but really is essential here. If you absolutely have to catch a specific train or aren't flexible with your time, make sure to budget a lot of extra time for navigating the absolutely massive stations. Just to give you an idea of the magnitude of public transport, let me tell you about Tomachi Station, where my hotel was located. It is significantly smaller than Namba or Umeda and has just 3 subway lines crossing, but even the somewhat mid-sized station stretches over several levels with underground restaurants and almost 30 exits. So when I first arrived, I struggled finding the right exit as my hotel supposedly had its own, but after wandering around cluelessly for a while, I instead finally took an elevator and ended up in some department store, from which I then could more easily navigate towards my hotel on the street with Google Maps, daylight and everything. So don't underestimate stations like Namba, Umeda or Shinjuku in Tokyo, as I got lost there several times. To smoothly transition from public transport to sightseeing, I just want to add that all the attractions mentioned here are in central Osaka or nearby, so they can easily be reached by bus or train. With all of the general information now covered, let's talk about the actual sites, starting with Osaka Castle. Originally completed in 1597, it was destroyed and rebuilt several times due to various wars. The current version dates from 1931, and although it is a modern reconstruction, it is very nice to look at. The castle is located in a beautiful park surrounded by moats that are still filled with water and even navigable by boat today. You can also visit the inside, which hosts a multi-story museum about the castle's history. The museum was okay, but not a must-see in my opinion. However, there's an observation platform at the top of the building that gives a lovely view over the park and parts of Osaka. Osaka Castle is also illuminated in the evenings, so a second visit at night is worthwhile. Before we get to probably Osaka's most famous landmark, a quick note. If you've enjoyed the video so far, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscription to the channel. The plan is to cover my entire trip in detail. This will include videos of cities like Kyoto, Nara, Kobe, Nagoya, Tokyo, Fukuoka and Hiroshima. Please let me know in the comments what worked well and what didn't, so I can improve future videos. Now back to the video and on to the world famous Dotonbori, located not far from Namba Station. Known for its huge neon signs and advertisements, it's a major hotspot in Osaka's nightlife. Tons of restaurants, bars and street food stalls invite you to hang out. The area stretches along both sides of a central canal, and the side streets are full of charming izakaya alleys. Needless to say, it's best visited at night. Having so many options to dine, there should be something for everyone. Osaka is especially known for takoyaki and okonomiyaki. Takoyaki are ball-shaped snacks filled with octopus and other ingredients. Personally, I unfortunately don't like octopus at all, so I didn't try it and therefore cannot say much about its quality. Okonomiyaki, on the other hand, is more like a savory pancake, and it somehow also reminds me a bit of an omelette. There's also a Hiroshima-style version of this, which I like better. Still, I definitely recommend trying it while you're in Osaka. If you don't like it either, don't worry. The city has everything from ramen to Japanese barbecue to top-notch sushi. Another similar area and not far from Dotonbori is Shinsekai. Separated from Dotonbori only by the entertainment and geek district of Nipponbashi, Shinsekai was designed in the early 20th century as a tourist attraction and features lots of restaurants and bars adorned with neon lights. One half of Shinsekai is modeled after New York and the other half is modeled after Paris. In the middle stands the Tsutenkake Tower, over 100 meters tall or over 300 feet if you're not a user of the metric system. You can also visit the tower's observation platform if you want to see Shinsekai from above. After World War II, the area saw little investment, so today it's more known for its retro vibes and also does not necessarily have the best reputation. I really enjoyed it though. Definitely worth visiting for a few photos or a beer. The next recommendation might not be everyone's thing, since you don't necessarily go to Japan for visiting aquariums, but I think the Kaiyukan is absolutely fantastic and recommend it to anyone even slightly interested. It's one of the largest aquariums in the world, and you can tell a lot of love and thought went into its design. You start by taking an escalator to the top floor and then work your way down. The aquarium's layout is basically based on water depth. You begin near the coast with shallow waters or rainforest surroundings and then go deeper. The main highlight is a huge central tank showcasing life in the Pacific Ocean, with whale sharks as the stars and many other exotic species. As you can see, the tank is absolutely massive and the track around it is intelligently designed so you can see everything from several angles. Once you progress further into the exhibition, you reach Japan's deep sea zone, which features more bizarre creatures. Last but definitely not least, you'll take another escalator downstairs into an almost completely dark room featuring several jellyfish aquariums. Overall, the Kaiyukan has a very tasteful atmosphere. The glowing blue of the main tank is paired with classical music that perfectly matches the graceful movements of the fish. When you reach the deep sea, it starts getting quieter, and the jellyfish area is only accompanied by minimalist sounds. It's well worth a visit if your schedule allows for it or if the weather prevents you from pursuing any outdoor activity. Tickets are reasonably priced and it's easy to get to by train from Osaka city center. Next, I'd like to take a closer look at Universal Studios Japan. I'm admittedly not the biggest theme park fan, but I really wanted to see the Super Nintendo World, which opened in 2021. I liked the atmosphere of the park overall, especially the Nintendo area. Beautifully done and highly detailed, though maybe a bit small. I can't comment on quite a few of the park's rides as I skipped them. If you're looking for extreme roller coasters though, you might not be that satisfied. Only the Jurassic Park roller coaster looked somewhat intense. Aside from the rides, the park offers a ton of branded merchandise. I'll make a separate video about the park later to get into more detail. One important note I want to address now though. To visit Nintendo World, you need a free timed entry ticket in addition to the main park ticket. These are available via the park app, but you must first buy your main ticket if I remember correctly. In my case, only the last time slot was still available, so it's definitely worth doing some research on this before you visit. It is only a short train ride from Osaka's major transport hubs to Universal Studios, and if you're lucky you even get to ride in one of those Mario branded trains. Well, they're just branded on the outside and normal trains inside, but I guess that's at least something. Lastly, I want to hand out some tips for fans of observation decks. There are several options in Osaka. As mentioned, Osaka Castle has one. There also is the aforementioned Tsutenkake Tower in Shinsekai, but since I didn't visit it, I can't really comment on it. The best view in my opinion though is from the Umeda Sky Building. This 170 meter or about 550 feet high building has a 2-story observation deck with a 360-degree view from the rooftop. The lower deck is enclosed, so it's weather protected. There are also small exhibitions about the building's history and spots to enjoy drinks or snacks while admiring the view. So it could be a good idea to just rest here for a while during a busy sightseeing day while enjoying some coffee and cake or beer. Interestingly enough, the bar had a wide selection of international beers, unlike anywhere else I visited in Japan. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy the Japanese beers, but I guess it's always good to have a little bit of variety, and I found it noteworthy that they had such a massive selection. Tickets for Umeda Sky Building can be bought online or on site and cost 2,000 yen, which currently is about 11 euros or $13 US, which is quite reasonable in my opinion. Please bear in mind that if you want to arrive at specific times, for example prior to sunset, it's best to bring a little bit of extra time as there can be queues. In that case, I would arrive early and just enjoy a drink from the lovely beer bar upstairs to avoid any disappointments. So with that, we're nearing the end of this video. As a disclaimer, these are only attractions I personally visited. For a full overview, I recommend the site japanguide.com, which offers detailed lists of all major sites in every Japanese city. I skipped some temples and museums in Osaka due to being saturated from visiting Kyoto quite a few times. I'll also be uploading more in-depth videos about most of the attractions mentioned here. With these final views of Osaka skyline, I'll wrap things up. Thank you very much for watching. If you have feedback or questions, feel free to leave a comment. And if you did like the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next upload.